Now, in the Darla Routier case, if you read over the testimony of Darin Routier, we can clearly see that he lied. How can we clearly see that he lied? Because of his affidavit that he put out in 2002. Up further up, before he gets into what happened when he got down the stairs, when he got down the stairs, he talks about what Darlene and he talked about. Talked about the business, talked about their trip to Pennsylvania, talked about their planned trip to Darley was going to go with Karen Neal to Cancun. Talked about a little bit of money there in the account. But never did he say they got into an argument. Never did he say that she asked for a separation that night. Never did he say any of that. If you look at his testimony, you can see that he did not mention anything that he wrote in that affidavit. Nothing about Darley asked for a separation that night. He didn't say that they had words, which you see him say on one show, that they had words and that they were arguing. You never see him say any of that. You kind of stop it there, but if you look, type in the testimony of Darin Routier, and you can see what I'm talking about. Now, we get down here to the part where Officer Waddell walks into the door. He also says that Darley was trying to. First, he said that Darley was on the. In one show, he said Darley was already on the phone to 911 when he came downstairs. But then later in this testimony here, he says that Darley was trying to hold Devin's chest wounds together, all while she had a towel on her own neck. Now, when you get to the point where he says David Waddell came in, he contradicts the testimony that William Gorsuch, who lived directly on the side of the house where he could see the front and the back, Gorsuch testified that he saw Waddell pull up, and that he saw Darin out in the front yard, and that he saw David Waddell pull a gun on Darin and take him back into the house. But here he says, here Darin says something different. Did you ever see a police officer? I did at one time. All right, did you see the one that you know now to be David Waddell? Yes, sir. Okay, Darin. When he walked into the room, Darin, I want you to get a hold of yourself. I want you to tell the jury what David Waddell did when he walked into the room. Did he take over? Did he start issuing orders about how to take care of and attend to the children and render first aid to the children? As soon as he walked into the room, he went and he froze. He did not move. Did he get his gun out? No, sir. This is because they want to contradict William Gorsuch's testimony here, is what they want to do. No, sir. He didn't do anything. I kept screaming at him. He said, I kept screaming at Waddell. But you don't hear that in the 911 call, telling him to help me, and he wouldn't help me. He said, I kept screaming at him. But you don't hear that in the 911 call at all. Look up Darley Routier 911 call. You do not hear him screaming. You do not hear him screaming to help him at all. If Darley was helping him, then he wouldn't need Waddell to help him. So here is what I believe to be a lie, all right? Because you don't hear it in the 911 call. Was Darley trying to get him to go back to the garage? Yes, Darley says in 911, go out in the garage. Go out in the garage. He went out in the garage. Did he finally go back into the kitchen? He stopped halfway into the kitchen, then he came back. Would he go back to the garage? He just stood there because he didn't have backup. All right. If that's the case, then it's because he didn't have backup. Again, did he have his gun out? Because William Gorsuch testified that he saw Waddell pull his gun on Darin and take him back into the house. Right? I never saw a gun. Were all three of you in shock? Yes, sir. The police officer included? Yes, sir. I don't believe so. Because you can hear Waddell. Did another police officer arrive at the scene? People started piling into the house after that. I mean, it was chaotic. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it was flat out people piling in on top of each other. And everybody was screaming, hollering, yelling. Now, here's the question. Based on Darin's testimony, where he completely leaves out the part that they got into an argument. He comes back in 2002 and says they got in an argument and she asked for a separation and blah, blah, blah. Do we believe Darin in this testimony? We have other testimony of William Gorsuch. Do we believe Darin? Because he admitted that he lied on the stand in that affidavit. He admitted it. And I think that they're going to have a problem if they ever try to have a new trial for her because of that affidavit. Do we believe Darin or do we believe his affidavit? Because if we're to believe Darin in this testimony, then that affidavit means nothing. Well, there was a failed break-in, blah, blah, blah. Darin doesn't mention anything like them arguing or anything in this testimony at all. So who do we believe? One that we know lied. We know Darin lied. He either lied here or he lied in that affidavit. All right? So who do we believe? William Gorsuch, who has no dog in that fight? Do we believe Waddell? Or do we believe Darin, who we know told a lie here or in the affidavit? And you can look on my YouTube channel, you can type in affidavit of Darin Routier, and it's there. Why was he lying? The reason that someone tells a lie is to deflect from the truth. In the last defense, you can see Darin saying, I did it for Darley. I did it for Darley. Who do we believe?